All right, so what we're gonna do in uh, in this example is one of our students, Trey, is going to go to council.google.com. So the URL, and we're going to redeploy. So notice the URL, if everyone can kind of take a look. Trey, just hit council.google, or is it, I'm sorry, cloud.google.com. If you just type in cloud.google.com, right, that takes you where you want to go. Cloud.google.com takes you to the Google Cloud landing page, at which point, yeah, there's a couple ways to get there. At which point, you can click on Council. So let's now, Trey, do me a favor and click on the drop down. Get this. This is full. And so you've got a few projects. And so one thing that you'll need to do first is create a new project. So if you click on New Project, this is all in the setup video, okay? Now, Trey's not gonna do this. He's already set up his project. So if you haven't already set up your Google Cloud project, that's kind of step one. Let's click Cancel. Now the next thing I wanna do is I want you to point out this is Bug Tracker -Express, so this is his back end. Click on the hamburger menu there on the left, the drop down, and click on Billing. No, stop, please. Click on the hamburger menu, click on Billing. Okay, it's not there. Click on cloud.google.com. Do me a favor and stop clicking everything. Click on google.cloud. Click on the homepage. Thank you. Click on there. There should be billing under here. There's billing under more products. So let's click on billing. Okay. The next thing I want to point out is that his billing account for that project is billing account for education. So if you click under maybe My Projects tab, you could see that Bug Tracker Express is lined up with his correct billing account for education. Okay, so that's just two things to kind of start the deployment process, is to make sure that those two things are set up. Now Trey, you're caught up on all the labs, 0402? Yes, okay. So now let's go into the code for 0402 in Visual Studio. Connor?
For this case, is it we need to make one project for Express, or do we connect it? Do we redeploy our back end into this?
You do. If you've already done that once, like the back end is Express, right? It's the same thing. He just labeled his back end Express. Express.js is the back end.
Oh.
Okay.
So if I already see that's part of like my billing for this, is this step not?
Presumably you don't need to do that. And I can help, but yeah, you should have a project there for the back end. Have you deployed yet, is my question?
I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. So again, at this point, Trey has already deployed once. And as a demonstration of that, Trey, let's go back to your Google Cloud Council. And let's click on Google Cloud homepage. And click on Dashboard. And let's go ahead and select Bug Tracker Express. And go to the App Engine dashboard. And up in the right-hand corner, you see the URL for the live version of his site. And so this was, I think, after like one of the first labs, right? And Trey, can you maybe list your users or something to that extent? So I'm not sure if those are working links. Okay, so let's append a route on our URL. So go to the end of the URL and type in /API bugs lists. And just make sure that you can get the data. And so he's getting data. At this point, this looks like this was coming from a database. Okay? It's worth mentioning that when you deploy to Google Cloud, your source code is now running on their server. So their server needs to be, now this is considered serverless, okay? So you basically need to open up an IP address on Mongo to allow requests coming from Google's IP address, not Rankin's IP address. Okay? So there is a firewall rule on Mongo Atlas that you have to open up the correct IP address in order to get this data. Okay, so I'm just pointing that out, that Trey has already opened up the firewall on Mongo in order to get this data. Okay, let's go back to the dashboard for me, Trey. And let's go back to the Google Cloud, click on the main home, click on, okay, you see the project ID. Project ID is Bug Tracker Express. So go ahead and copy that project ID for me. Okay, now let's go back to Visual Studio Code. So when you're deploying here, we need to make sure that the project is set so that you're deploying to the right project. And so there's a Google console command, right? You're gonna have to install the console tools. And let me look that up real quick. So I'm pretty sure, because this is his only project, that this configuration is already done properly. So the command is gcloud config set project, and then the project ID that we just copied. So if I kind of, again, gcloud config set the word project, and then your project ID. So gcloud config set project. And that should do it. So let's click enter. Okay, updated property project. Good. And presumably you have not redeployed in a while, right, Trey? So there should be some new functionality, et cetera, et cetera. So let's do this. Let's go back to the terminal. And the command to deploy is pretty simple. gcloud space app space deploy. Okay. It is very normal to run into is normal to run into issues here, okay? So just prefacing, it's very normal to do that. You wanna make sure that your project is set properly. So the target project is Bug Tracker Express. That's really important, and that is accurate target URL. All that looks good. Let's hit enter, yes. This will spin for a little bit, and I'll let it spin and pause and come back. Okay, so the good news is that Trey successfully deployed, and it does give him deployed service, and so he should be able to hold down the control button and click on that URL, Bug Tracker Express. Yep, open up the browser. Okay, now we see some things have been refactored, right? So clearly this is his new HTML page. Do those links work, Trey? Now probably these are locked down by permissions, right? So, you know, if we go to list a user or something to that extent, or list a bug.
Why? It's done though.
What do you think, Steven? I hear you. What are you thinking, Steven?
Huh?
What do you think? It's cool? That's good. All right, that's good. You are not logged in, right? So that's what we would expect at this point, right? So Trey has successfully redeployed. Last thing I'll mention is, Trey, do me a favor and show your database module. In your source code, go to your database.js and scroll down to the ping function. And I just want to point it out that we commented out ping, or you completely deleted the ping. So you're not calling that function anywhere.
No.
Okay, that was a problem that we encountered on more than one occasion, where that ping function was throwing some errors. So if you're calling ping, you might just comment that function call out so it doesn't call that. Okay. So just wanted to show a redeployment, and at this point, his back end is ready for a front end, which is exactly where we want to be in this course. Awesome.